is Carter, and today I want to talk about what makes someone a furry and what a furry actually is. Okay, so let me first of all say the furry fandom is not all sex based or predator or that kind of stuff. There genuinely seems to be a misconception about the furry fandom is all about sex and how we have sex in these animal costumes, and honestly, most of the time, obviously it's a fandom, it's gonna have adult stuff just like any other fandom, and it's gonna have the occasional person who is a bit questionable, but other than that, the furry fandom isn't as, disgusting as the anime fandom when it comes to that stuff, I guess, so it's just like any other fandom. Okay, so now that I have clarified that, I want to talk about what an actual furry is. Okay, so the definition of a furry is someone who has an interest in anthropomorphic animals. There's another definition that actually correlates with the actual character. What I mean by that is a character with anthropomorphic characteristics, e.g. talking, standing on two legs, and other stuff like that would make them more human, compared to, let's just say, a feral dog that would just run around all day. You know, like an average everyday dog. Let's just say Roger Rabbit would count as a anthropomorphic animal due to him being, him standing up on two legs and him talking. So a person actually being a furry is showing an interest towards anthropomorphic characters, such as Roger Rabbit, as I've explained. Technically, if you've just got an interest towards those cartoon animals, you don't have to be a furry, obviously, but being a furry is when you actually join in with the fandom. Now, furries tend to have these things called personas. Personas are characters that the individual furry has made up. This persona is a character that is used to represent the person inside of the fandom. It can also be used to represent them outside of the fandom as well. A persona is very, very important to the individual. Well, I know Ace is to me. Ace is my persona. I've had him for about 3 years, and he has gone through some redesigns, but overall looks around about the same. Often in the furry fandom, you are very much recognised as your persona rather than actually how you look in real life. So, in the fandom, it plays a massive role in your identity. When it comes to making your persona, you want to pick a species that best represents your personality, I find. Colour palettes and patterns can also show how you are like in real life, so let's just say vibrant colours might often make you seem more of a happy and joyful person. But yeah, there are plenty of videos on YouTube on how to make personas and how to design them and how to make them just right for you. Okay, so let's get into one of the nitty-gritty things that is quite obvious in the fandom. So you might often see the fandom mainly being represented by these furry costumes, as you may have heard them called, or costumes, or these anthropomorphic kind of mascot suits. In the fandom, and everywhere else, these go by the title of fursuits. Fursuits are a custom costume made down to the individual, or can be sold as a pre-made. So people will often commission fursuit makers to build their persona for them as a fursuit. Fursuit makers can also decide to make a pre-made or pre-mades where the character is designed by themselves or by somebody else and is made to sell rather than it being custom. Fursuits are mainly used to represent the person in the fandom. Again, with the persona as the identity, a fursuit can also be used as an identity as well. As the fursuit is of their persona mainly, you can often tell at cons who is who because of the identity of the persona that people use online. You do not, and I repeat, you do not need a fursuit to be a furry. Actually, most furries don't even have a fursuit due to the price. Because they are custom made, they tend to range to thousands and thousands of pounds. Again, with the whole furry thing, fursuits can often be used for NSFW stuff, but mainly they're not. They're mainly used for entertainment. Again, everything that kind of happens within fandoms happens. and unfortunately it's out of control of others, so you can't really categorize everyone with everything and kind of be like, hey, that one person does something, so all of them must do it, because that's not fair. Then again, I'm not going to sit here and say that they are not used for NSFW purposes, but I can tell you the majority of them aren't. And even if they are used for NSFW, often people get 2 fursuits, one for that stuff and one to be worn in public. The furry fandom as a whole is very, very community based. So you'll often find everyone knows everyone and everyone kind of gets along, unless if you have that certain asshole, of course. There is a lot of LGBTQ plus people in the fandom as well, as the majority of a fandom is made up of 20-year-old gay men. And this is proven by surveys that were taken quite a while back in cons. Because of this, the furry fandom tends to be a very accepting place and a very accepting fandom / community to be in. Anyway, that's a very basic explanation of what a furry is, and to be honest, I don't have very much to say on the topic, as it is really down to the individual of how they see how they see the fandom, because it is and can be so personal. Anyway, my name was Ace Carter, and I'll see you guys in the next video.